Namo, Amitābha Buddha. Dear friends, I'm very grateful you are here with me tonight. Have you ever lain in bed, the room completely quiet, your phone finally face down, and yet your mind refuses to rest? Not because of coffee, not because of noise, but because deep inside something feels unsettled. A strange emptiness, a quiet ache that appears the moment no one is calling, texting, or needing you anymore. Many people in America experience this, even those who work hard, care for family, and seem strong during the day. At night, when the world stops asking for you, the heart begins to wander. Thoughts replay, worries rise, and sleep feels far away. Tonight, I want to gently tell you this: you are not broken, and you are not failing at rest. According to the Buddha's teaching, this restlessness has a cause, and more importantly, it has a path toward peace. In the quiet moments ahead, I will share a simple wisdom and a gentle practice that many have used to calm the heart, soften the mind, and feel whole again without needing anything from the outside. Let us begin slowly together. The quiet we just entered together does not disappear when the lights go out. It follows many people into their bedrooms, into their thoughts, into the long pauses between one breath and the next. So many people in this country live lives that look complete from the outside. There is a job to show up for. Bills are paid, or at least managed. Groceries are stacked neatly in the refrigerator. Calendars are full. Messages are answered. During the day, the body moves with purpose, and the face knows how to smile when needed. Yet when night comes, when shoes are set by the door and the house grows still, something subtle begins to ache. It is the feeling of having done everything that was asked of you and still feeling nowhere to rest. I have spoken with many people here in America who describe the same quiet struggle. A father who works long hours, drives home on dark freeways, and sits in his car for a moment before going inside, just breathing. A mother who cares for everyone else all day, then lies awake at night, replaying conversations, wondering if she did enough. A young professional who lives alone, surrounded by convenience and comfort, yet feels a hollow silence when the phone stops lighting up. The room is warm, the bed is soft, and still the mind wanders like a child who does not know where home is. This is not because these people lack gratitude. It is not because they are unkind or unfaithful to life. It is because modern life teaches us how to build everything except a place for the heart to rest. The Buddha spoke of this long before smartphones, long before long commutes and endless responsibilities. He taught that suffering does not only come from pain or loss. Sometimes it comes from subtle imbalance, from always leaning outward, from constantly being useful, needed, productive, available, without ever returning inward. Many people confuse this feeling with loneliness. They think, if only someone were here, or if only I were busier, or if only I felt more appreciated. So they reach for conversation, noise, entertainment, or distraction. And for a moment, the ache softens. But when the noise fades, the feeling returns. Imagine a house with many beautiful rooms, but no place to sit quietly. No chair by the window. No lamp with gentle light. No space to exhale. Eventually, even the most beautiful house feels exhausting. In the same way, a life can be full, yet the heart feels homeless. I once sat with an elderly woman at a small Buddhist temple outside a busy American city. Cars passed endlessly on the street nearby. Inside, the air smelled faintly of incense, and a single bell hung near the altar. She smiled as she poured tea, her hands steady, her movements slow. When I asked her how she slept so peacefully at night, she did not answer right away. She looked at the steam rising from the cup and said softly, "I stopped asking the world to hold me." That sentence stayed with me. So many of us ask the world to hold us. We ask our work to make us feel secure. We ask relationships to make us feel complete. We ask recognition to quiet our doubts. We ask constant activity to keep uncomfortable feelings away. But the world is always moving. It cannot hold us the way we hope it will. In Buddhist teaching, this restless feeling has a simple explanation. When the heart does not know where to rest, it keeps leaning outward, searching for something solid. This leaning creates tension, not dramatic suffering, but a low, constant pressure, the kind that shows up as fatigue, anxiety, shallow breathing, or nights where sleep never quite deepens. This is not a moral failure. It is not weakness. It is a natural response of a mind that has not been shown how to return home. Many people in American culture are taught independence from a young age. Stand on your own. Be strong. Handle it. Keep going. And while this builds resilience, it often leaves no room for gentleness, no permission to pause, no language for inner care. So people keep going. They keep proving, they keep carrying. Until one night, the body lies down, but the mind keeps standing. The Buddha did not teach escape from responsibility. He taught balance. He taught that effort without rest becomes strain, and care without wisdom becomes exhaustion. He taught that the heart needs a refuge just as the body needs sleep. A refuge is not another person. It is not praise. It is not distraction. A refuge is an inner place where the mind is allowed to soften. You may notice this absence most clearly at night. The hum of the refrigerator, the faint glow of street lights through the window, the quiet ticking of time. These small details act like mirrors. They show us what has been waiting all day to be felt. And perhaps what has been waiting is not more activity, but permission. Permission to stop leaning outward. Permission to be still without being empty. Permission to exist without needing to earn it. When the Buddha spoke of peace, he did not speak of a life without effort. He spoke of a life where effort is guided by awareness, and awareness returns the mind to itself. That is why so many people feel tired even after rest. The body slept, but the heart never arrived. Tonight, we are not trying to fix everything. We are simply noticing something important. That the feeling of having everything but nowhere to rest is not a personal flaw. It is a signal, a quiet invitation, an invitation to learn how to create a place within where the mind can finally sit down. And when that place begins to form, even slowly, something gentle happens. The night no longer feels like an enemy. Silence no longer feels threatening. The heart begins to recognize itself again. This is where the path truly begins. And once that quiet invitation is noticed, a deeper question naturally appears. Why does the heart grow heavier the more tightly it holds? You may have felt this without having words for it. The more you wait for a message, the more restless your chest becomes. The more you hope someone will stay, the more afraid you feel of being left. The more you try to secure certainty, the more fragile everything seems. It is like gripping water in your hands. The tighter the fist, the faster it slips away. The Buddha gave this experience a gentle name: attachment, not in a harsh or judgmental way, but as a simple description of how the mind tries to protect itself. Attachment is the movement of leaning towards something and silently saying, "I need this to be okay." It can attach to people, outcomes, routines, praise, attention, or even to an image of who we believe we must be. At first, attachment feels comforting. It feels like safety, like a warm coat on a cold night. When someone responds quickly, the heart relaxes. When plans go as expected, the body softens. When things feel familiar, the breath deepens for a moment. But slowly, something changes. The coat becomes heavy. The safety becomes a burden. The heart begins to worry, not about what is happening now, but about what might be taken away. The mind starts checking, predicting, rehearsing. Sleep grows lighter. Breathing becomes shallow. The jaw tightens without notice. This is the quiet fatigue of attachment. I once sat across from a man named David at a meditation center in Northern California. He had a calm voice and careful posture, but his eyes carried exhaustion. He spoke about his relationship, his work, his responsibilities. Everything sounded reasonable. Yet when he paused, his hands trembled slightly. "I don't know why I'm so tired," he said. "Nothing is wrong." Nothing was wrong on the surface, but underneath his mind was gripping too many things at once. The Buddha explained that attachment is tiring because it asks the mind to do an impossible job. It asks the mind to control what cannot be controlled. People change. Circumstances shift. Bodies age. Feelings rise and fall. When the mind tries to freeze, any of this tension is created. Imagine holding a bell in your hand. If you hold it gently, it rests quietly. If you squeeze it tightly, it rings. Attachment is that squeeze. The sound it creates is anxiety. This is not a flaw in character. It is a habit of survival. Many people learned early on that safety came from pleasing others, being needed, staying useful, or remaining agreeable. The mind learned to cling as a way to avoid pain. Over time, clinging became automatic. The Buddha did not teach that caring is wrong. He taught that clinging is exhausting. Caring allows things to move naturally. Clinging tries to make them stay. There is a quiet difference between love and attachment. Love opens the hand. Attachment closes it. Love says, "I am here with you." Attachment says, "Don't leave me." One brings warmth. The other brings fear. In daily life, attachment often hides behind reasonable thoughts. I just want reassurance. I just want to feel secure. I just want to know what's going to happen. These thoughts seem harmless, but notice how the body responds when they arise. The shoulders lift, the stomach tightens, the breath shortens, the mind scans for signs. This scanning is tiring. It keeps the nervous system alert long after the danger has passed. The Buddha observed that the mind becomes weary not because it cares too much, but because it resists impermanence. Everything in life changes, yet attachment demands consistency. When reality does not cooperate, the mind strains. Picture a person standing in a river trying to stop the water with their hands. The water keeps flowing. Muscles burn. Frustration builds. The river is not cruel. It is simply moving. Life moves the same way. When attachment is present, even good moments carry tension. Joy is mixed with fear of loss. Calm is mixed with anticipation of disruption. Love is mixed with anxiety. The heart never fully rests because it is always guarding something. This is why the Buddha said that attachment leads to suffering, not as punishment, but as consequence. When the mind grips, it cannot relax. When it cannot relax, peace remains distant. You may notice this most clearly at night. The room is dim. The clock glows softly. The body is still. But the mind reviews conversations, imagines future scenarios, replays past moments. It holds on to what was said, what wasn't said, what might happen next. The pillow feels warm, yet rest feels far away. This is attachment speaking in the language of worry. There is a sound often heard at Buddhist temples in America, especially in the evening. A single bell struck gently, sending a long fading tone into the air. The sound does not rush. It does not cling to its beginning. It rises, lingers, and disappears. The mind, when attached, fears the fading. The Buddha taught that peace begins when we stop fighting the fading. When we allow experiences to come and go without gripping them, the heart lightens. This does not happen through force. It happens through understanding. Understanding softens the grip. When you see clearly that holding tighter does not bring safety, the hand begins to open on its own. When you notice that clinging increases fatigue, the body naturally seeks another way. This is where wisdom enters, not as a command, but as a quiet realization. The realization that rest does not come from securing everything outside, but from loosening the hold inside. Many people fear that if they stop holding on, they will lose everything. The Buddha offered reassurance. He taught that letting go does not mean abandonment. It means trust. Trust in the natural movement of life. Trust in your ability to meet what arises. When attachment loosens, something gentle replaces it. A steadiness, a quiet confidence, the kind that does not depend on constant confirmation. You may begin to notice moments when the breath deepens without effort, when the shoulders drop on their own, when silence feels less threatening. These are signs that the grip is easing. This is not the end of the path. It is the doorway. When the mind understands why clinging creates fatigue, it becomes willing to learn a new way of resting. A way that does not require control. A way so does not depend on others staying the same. And in that willingness, the heart prepares itself for something very simple yet very powerful. Learning how to place the mind gently without grasping and allow it to be still. This is where true relief begins to take shape. As the grip softens, another quiet truth begins to reveal itself, one that many people sense but rarely understand clearly. Every time the mind worries, something subtle is planted, not in the outside world, but deep within the heart. You may notice it late at night. A thought appears, small and sharp. What if something goes wrong tomorrow? What if someone pulls away? What if I made the wrong decision? The body responds before you have time to think. The chest tightens, the breath shortens, the mind circles the same question again and again, like a finger tracing the same worn path. When the thought finally fades, it feels as if nothing has happened, yet something has. The Buddha called this process karma, not as fate, not as punishment, but as cause and effect within the mind. Karma simply means that every repeated mental movement leaves an imprint, just as a path forms when people walk across the same field day after day. Worry forms a path in the heart when it is traveled again and again. Many people misunderstand karma as something distant tied only to future lives or dramatic events. But the Buddha spoke of karma as something very intimate, something happening moment by moment. The thoughts you return to, the emotions you rehearse, the fears you feed with attention. All of these quietly shape the landscape of your inner world. Picture a garden at dusk. The air is cool. The soil is dark and soft. Seeds fall, whether you intend to plant them or not. Some are seeds of calm. Some are seeds of fear. Whatever is dropped into the soil, if watered, will grow. Each time you worry and stay with that worry, a seed is watered. This does not mean you are doing something wrong. It means you are human. The mind learned long ago that worrying felt like preparation, like protection. It believed that if it stayed alert, it could prevent pain. So it repeats the habit, hoping for safety. But the Buddha noticed something important. Worry does not prevent suffering. It rehearses it. When the same worry is repeated night after night, it becomes familiar. Familiar thoughts feel real. Real thoughts feel true. And soon the body reacts before the mind has time to choose. This is how karma becomes habit. I once listened to a woman named Emily speak quietly after an evening meditation at a temple in the Midwest. Her voice was steady, but her hands folded tightly in her lap. She said, "I don't know why my mind always goes to the worst place." As she spoke, her brow furrowed slightly, as if bracing for impact. Nothing terrible was happening in her life at that moment. Yet her nervous system lived in tomorrow's fear. This is not because she lacked faith or strength. It was because her mind had been practicing worry for many years. The practice had become skilled. The Buddha taught that the mind becomes good at whatever it practices. If it practices fear, fear becomes quick. If it practices calm, calm becomes available. Karma is simply the training of the heart. You can see this clearly in the body. After repeated worry, the shoulders rise easily. The stomach tightens without warning. The breath becomes shallow as soon as uncertainty appears. These reactions are not conscious choices. They are learned responses. This is why people feel tired even when nothing obvious is wrong. The body is carrying the weight of many small repeated moments of tension. Each one alone seems insignificant. Together, they shape how it feels to be alive. The Buddha described this as planting seeds without awareness, not because people are careless, but because they have never been shown another way. There is a bell at a temple I visit occasionally in the early morning. When it is struck, the sound rolls outward, gentle and wide. Even after the bell is silent, the vibration lingers in the air. Worry works the same way. Even after the thought ends, the vibration remains. This is the karmic echo. But here is the part that brings great hope. If worry can plant seeds, so can awareness. The Buddha taught that karma is not fixed. It is alive. It responds to attention. The same mind that learned to worry can learn to soften. The same heart that planted fear can plant peace. This does not happen by force. It happens through understanding. When you begin to notice worry as a habit rather than an emergency, something shifts. The thought arises, but instead of running with it, you pause. The pause is small, almost invisible, yet in that pause, no seed is watered. The Buddha called this wisdom, not because it is complex, but because it sees clearly. Imagine holding a handful of seeds. You do not need to throw them into the soil just because they are in your hand. You can look at them. You can choose which ones to plant. Each time you notice a worried thought and gently return to the present moment, you are choosing not to plant that seed. Each time you soften the breath, instead of tightening it, you are changing the soil. This is how karma begins to shift. It is not dramatic. It is not instant. It is quiet and steady, like turning a ship slightly at sea. At first, the horizon looks the same, but over time, the destination changes. Many people fear that if they stop worrying, they will become careless or irresponsible. The Buddha reassured his students that awareness is not negligence. Awareness is clarity. It allows appropriate action without unnecessary suffering. When the mind is no longer consumed by repeated fear, it has more space. In that space, wiser choices arise naturally. The body rests more deeply. Sleep comes with less resistance. The heart feels less burdened. You may notice this change in simple moments. The phone remains unanswered, yet the chest stays soft. The plan shifts, yet the breath remains steady. The thought appears, but it passes without pulling you under. These are signs that new seeds are being planted. The Buddha often spoke of tending the garden of the mind, not by removing every weed at once, but by consistently choosing what to nourish. Over time, the soil itself becomes kinder. When you understand that each worried moment leaves an imprint, compassion naturally arises. You stop judging yourself for feeling tired. You begin to see the long effort your heart has been making to protect you. And with that compassion comes choice. Choice does not mean control. It means direction. You may not be able to stop thoughts from appearing, but you can decide whether to feed them. You can decide whether to follow them into the night or gently turn back toward the breath, toward stillness, toward rest. This is the beginning of true practice. When the mind sees how karma is formed in small moments, it becomes willing to learn how to place attention differently, not to escape life, but to live it with less weight. In this understanding, something tender unfolds. You realize that peace is not something added later. It is something uncovered, seed by seed, moment by moment. And once this is seen, the heart becomes ready to learn a very gentle skill. A skill that allows the mind to rest without creating new tension. A way of placing attention that does not plant worry, but nourishes calm. This is where healing deepens. When the heart understands how worry plants seeds, it naturally begins to ask a gentler question. If attention creates karma, where should attention rest? This is where many people feel uncertain. They have heard of chanting prayer or repeating sacred names, yet something inside hesitates. It can sound like begging, like asking an unseen force to fix what feels broken. For those raised in a culture that values self-reliance, this can feel uncomfortable. But the Buddha never taught chanting as pleading. He taught it as placement. I remember sitting in a small temple room one evening, the lights dim, the air cool against the skin. Outside, traffic moved steadily, but inside there was a steady rhythm of voices, soft, unhurried. With each repetition, shoulders lowered, faces softened, breathing slowed, not because anyone was asking for something, but because the mind had finally found a place to stand. Chanting in its essence is not about convincing the universe to change. It is about reorienting the mind when it has lost its center. Think of a spinning wheel that has slipped off its axis. The wheel itself is not damaged. It simply wobbles because it is no longer aligned. Chanting places the wheel back onto its center point. The movement becomes smooth again. When the mind is anxious, it spins around thoughts, memories, predictions. It moves without rest. Chanting gives it a steady anchor, a sound, a rhythm, a direction. Many people chant the name of Amitābha Buddha not because they believe the name itself is magical, but because it carries a meaning the heart recognizes: compassion, boundless light, peace that does not depend on circumstances. Each repetition is like turning the face toward that meaning again and again. At first, the mind resists. Thoughts interrupt. Doubts appear. The body fidgets. This is normal. It is simply the sound of habits loosening their grip. Then, something subtle happens. The breath begins to match the rhythm. The chest softens. The jaw unclenches. The sound moves from the lips into the body. The repetition becomes less effortful, more like rocking a child to sleep. Not forcing, not rushing. This is not surrendering responsibility. It is returning attention to what steadies it. The Buddha taught that the mind cannot hold two objects with equal strength at the same time. When attention rests on fear, fear grows. When attention rests on clarity, clarity strengthens. Chanting is a way of choosing the object of attention when the mind feels too scattered to choose on its own. Some people worry that this practice is passive, that it means ignoring problems. But notice what actually happens. When the mind is calmer, perception becomes clearer. Decisions feel less reactive. The body conserves energy instead of burning it on imagined threats. I once spoke with a woman named Sarah who began chanting quietly at night after weeks of restless sleep. She did not expect miracles. She simply wanted something to hold on to that was not her worries. She told me that after a few nights, she noticed her hands no longer clenched the blanket. Her breathing deepened without effort. The thoughts still came, but they passed like clouds rather than storms. Her life had not suddenly changed. Her relationship challenges were still there. Her responsibilities remained, but her inner position had shifted. She was no longer standing inside the storm. This is what it means to place the mind. In Buddhist teaching, this is called concentration, but not the tight kind that strains. It is a relaxed gathering of attention, like bringing scattered children back into one room and sitting together quietly. The sound of chanting helps because it is simple. It does not require analysis. It does not demand belief. It only asks presence. When chanting is done gently without expectation, it becomes a refuge. Not a place to hide, but a place to rest. The mind learns that it can stay with one thing without tension. This lesson slowly carries into daily life. You may notice that when uncertainty arises, the body remembers the rhythm. The breath recalls the softness. The nervous system recognizes a familiar path back to steadiness. This is not because the world has become safer. It is because the inner axis has been restored. The Buddha often spoke of taking refuge, not in the sense of escape, but as orientation. When a traveler loses direction, they look for a landmark. Chanting becomes such a landmark for the mind. It is important to understand that chanting is not separate from wisdom. It supports wisdom by quieting the noise that drowns it out. When the mind is no longer consumed by repetitive fear, insight can arise naturally. You may begin to see situations more clearly. You may recognize when attachment is forming and soften before it tightens. You may feel emotions fully without being pulled under by them. This is not suppression, it is balance. In American Buddhist communities, many people practice chanting alongside meditation, not because they are traditional, but because it works. It meets the mind where it is. It gives shape to stillness. A bell often marks the beginning and end of chanting sessions. When it rings, the sound spreads outward, then dissolves into silence. Chanting works the same way. It guides the mind into stillness, then releases it gently. Over time, the practice teaches something profound. Peace is not something you wait for after life settles down. It is something you cultivate while life continues to move. You do not chant to erase your problems. You chant to meet them without losing yourself. When attention is placed again and again on something steady and kind, the mind learns to trust. It learns that it does not need to grip so tightly. It learns that rest is possible without control. This understanding does not arrive all at once. It arrives in moments. A softer breath, a quieter night, a reaction that dissolves before it hardens. These moments are not accidents. They are signs that the axis is returning to center. As this steadiness grows, the heart becomes ready for something even more intimate. A way of being present that does not rely on sound yet carries the same gentleness. A way of resting attention that can be practiced anywhere at any time. This is where the next step unfolds. As the mind finds its center again, there comes a moment when sound is no longer needed. The rhythm fades. The lips grow still. and something quieter takes its place. What remains is the breath moving on its own, waiting patiently to be noticed. This is where we stay, not by doing more, but by allowing less. You may be lying in bed right now, or sitting in a chair, the room dim, the day finally behind you. Perhaps you can hear a distant hum outside, or the soft ticking of time. Let those sounds be where they are. Nothing needs to be pushed away. Gently bring your attention to the body. Notice where it meets the bed, the chair, the floor, the weight of your back, the warmth in your hands, the quiet rise and fall beneath your ribs. There is no need to change anything yet. Simply notice. The Buddha taught that the body is always in the present moment. When the mind returns to the body, it returns home. We will stay with 3 breaths, not special breaths, not perfect breaths, just 3 natural ones. The first breath is for arriving. As you breathe in, feel the air enter the nose cool and light. As you breathe out, feel the body sink slightly, as if it knows it is safe to rest here. The shoulders drop a little. The jaw loosens. The breath leaves on its own. If a thought appears, let it pass like a car moving down a distant road. You do not need to follow it. The second breath is for softening. As you breathe in, notice where the body still holds. Perhaps the chest feels tight. Perhaps the stomach is tense. Perhaps the brow is slightly furrowed. There is no need to fix these sensations. Simply acknowledge them the way you would acknowledge a tired friend. As you breathe out, imagine warmth spreading gently through those places, not forcing release, just offering kindness. The breath moves like a slow tide touching the edges, then retreating. The Buddha spoke of compassion beginning with awareness. When the body feels seen, it begins to trust. The third breath is for staying. As you breathe in, feel the steadiness of this moment. Nothing is missing right now. Nothing needs to be added. The breath comes. The breath goes. You are here. As you breathe out, allow yourself to stay with the sensation of being held by the present, not held by a person, not held by certainty, held by awareness itself. For many people, this is the hardest part. Staying without reaching, remaining without distraction, allowing the moment to be enough. If the mind tries to pull away, gently return, not with effort, but with patience. Each return is an act of trust. I once sat beside a young man named Michael during a short retreat in the mountains. He was restless at first, shifting, sighing, opening his eyes. Then, after a few minutes of simply breathing, something changed. His posture softened. His hands rested easily on his knees. When the bell rang, he opened his eyes slowly and said, almost surprised, "I didn't know I could feel okay without thinking." That is the gift of staying with the breath. In Buddhist teaching, this simple practice is not meant to erase thoughts. It is meant to show the mind that it does not need to chase them. Thoughts can come and go, like leaves on water. Awareness remains. When you stay with 3 breaths, you interrupt the habit of planting worry. You are not feeding the old seeds. You are allowing the soil to rest. This is how karma changes, not through grand gestures, but through small moments of not reacting. The body learns quickly. When it experiences even a few seconds of rest without tension, it remembers. The nervous system begins to recognize a new pattern. Over time, this pattern becomes familiar. Calm becomes easier to access. You may notice subtle signs. A deeper exhale. A longer pause between thoughts. A sense that the night is not something to fight. These signs are not imaginary. They are the body responding to safety. The Buddha taught that mindfulness of breathing is like an anchor dropped gently into the sea. The waves may continue, but the boat no longer drifts aimlessly. The anchor does not stop the water. It provides steadiness within it. Staying with 3 breaths is not about discipline. It is about permission. Permission to pause. Permission to feel. Permission to be exactly where you are without needing to improve the moment. For those who carry responsibilities, who care deeply for family, who have worked hard to survive and provide this permission, can feel unfamiliar. Yet it is deeply deserved. When you allow yourself these breaths, you are not abandoning anyone. You are tending the source from which care flows. You can practice this in the car before going inside, in the bathroom at work, in bed when the mind begins to race. 3 breaths are always available. They ask for nothing but attention. Some nights the mind will settle quickly. Other nights it will wander again and again. This is not failure. Each return is part of the practice. Each gentle noticing strengthens the habit of awareness. The Buddha compared this to training a young animal. You do not scold it for wandering. You guide it back with patience. Over time, it learns. As you remain with these breaths, you may sense a quiet companionship forming. The feeling of not being alone with your thoughts. The awareness itself becomes a steady presence. This is what it means to stay with yourself. Not analyzing, not judging, not fixing, simply staying. In that staying, something profound happens. The heart begins to trust that it does not need constant movement to be safe. The mind learns that rest is possible without conditions. This does not solve everything at once, but it changes the direction of the journey. And when the direction changes even slightly, the destination begins to shift. As the breath continues to move gently on its own, allow yourself to rest here for a few more moments. Nothing more is required. Nothing else needs to be done. You are already practicing, and this practice, simple and quiet, is enough to begin carrying peace into the next moment, and the next, and the next. As those quiet breaths settle into the body, something begins to change, not suddenly, but steadily, like dawn light slowly filling a room. The mind no longer feels like it must reach outward every moment. There is a subtle sense of standing on your own ground, not in isolation, but in steadiness. The feeling is unfamiliar at first, yet deeply comforting. It is the feeling of becoming a refuge for yourself. Many people spend their lives searching for a place to lean, a person who understands, a relationship that feels secure, a situation that promises stability. When those things are present, the heart relaxes. When they are not, the heart tightens. This pattern feels natural, yet it carries great weight. The Buddha offered a different possibility. He taught that true refuge is not something we find outside. It is something we cultivate within. Not as a wall that shuts the world out, but as a foundation that allows us to meet the world without collapsing. I once watched an older man leave a meditation hall after an evening gathering. The parking lot was dim, the air cool. He paused before opening his car door, placed a hand over his chest, and closed his eyes for a brief moment. When he opened them, his face looked softer, as if he had remembered something important. He drove away, unhurried, even though the road ahead was long. That pause was his refuge. Becoming your own refuge does not mean you stop caring about others. It means you no longer abandon yourself while caring for them. It means that when life shifts, when people misunderstand, when plans fall apart, there is still a place inside that remains steady. In Buddhist teaching, this steadiness grows from repeated moments of awareness. Each time you stay with the breath, instead of running from discomfort, you strengthen it. Each time you soften rather than tighten, you add another layer of trust. Over time, the heart begins to recognize its own reliability. You may notice this in small ways. When someone's tone changes, your chest does not immediately constrict. When a message goes unanswered, the mind does not spiral as deeply. When uncertainty arises, the body remembers how to rest. This is not indifference. It is resilience. The Buddha described this inner refuge as something built gently, not forced, like stacking stones by hand one after another. Each stone is a moment of presence. Each moment adds weight and stability. At first, the structure feels fragile. Doubt returns easily. Old habits resurface. This is natural. The mind has spent many years leaning outward. Learning to lean inward takes patience. But slowly, something shifts. You begin to feel safe even when nothing is being confirmed. You begin to trust your ability to meet your own experience. The heart no longer panics at silence. It listens. I spoke once with a woman named Linda who had spent decades caring for others' children, parents, co-workers, neighbors. She told me that when she first began practicing stillness, she felt guilty, as if resting inside herself meant neglecting someone else. Over time, she noticed something surprising. When she rested first, she showed up with more kindness, more clarity, and less resentment. Her care became cleaner, less strained. This is the wisdom of refuge. The Buddha never taught self-reliance as isolation. He taught it as balance. When the mind knows how to rest within itself, relationships become lighter. Expectations soften. Love flows without fear. When you are your own refuge, you stop demanding that others carry your emotional weight. You still connect, still share, still love, but you no longer cling. The hand remains open. This shift changes the quality of daily life. Conversations feel less charged. Decisions feel less desperate. Even challenges arrive with less force. You may notice that your posture changes. The shoulders no longer hunch forward as much. The neck lengthens. The breath settles lower in the body. These are not conscious adjustments. They are signs that the nervous system feels supported. The Buddha understood that the body responds quickly when the mind feels safe. Safety is not the absence of difficulty. It is the presence of steadiness. Becoming your own refuge also changes how you experience being alone. Solitude no longer feels like abandonment. It feels like space. Space to breathe, space to listen, space to simply be. This is especially important in a culture where independence is praised, but inner care is rarely taught. Many people learn how to stand on their own feet, yet never learn how to sit with their own hearts. Refuge bridges this gap. It does not make you smaller. It makes you whole. In Buddhist communities across America, This understanding often grows quietly, not through dramatic experiences, but through consistent practice. People gather, sit, breathe, chant, and then return to their lives carrying a little more steadiness with them. Over time, the refuge becomes familiar. The mind knows where to turn when pressure arises. The heart knows it does not need to run. This does not mean you will never feel shaken again. Life will still bring loss, change, and uncertainty. Refuge does not prevent these. It prevents them from defining you. When something painful happens, you may feel it fully. Tears may come. Sadness may linger. But beneath it, there is a deeper layer that remains intact, a quiet strength that does not disappear. The Buddha taught that this inner stability is the greatest gift you can give yourself. It cannot be taken away. It does not depend on approval. It does not vanish when circumstances shift. You carry it with you into conversations, into work, into family life, into the quiet moments before sleep. As this refuge grows, you may notice another change. The desire to constantly explain yourself lessens. The urge to prove your worth fades. You trust your own intentions more deeply. The inner voice becomes clearer and kinder. This is the heart settling into its own home. Not a place built of walls, but of awareness. Not protected by force, but by understanding. Becoming your own refuge does not happen all at once. It happens breath by breath, moment by moment, choice by choice. Each time you return to yourself, instead of abandoning yourself, you reinforce this home. Each time you stay present, instead of grasping, you strengthen its foundation. And one day, often without noticing when it began, you realize that you are no longer searching for somewhere to land. You are already here. In that realization, the heart relaxes in a way it never has before. The world feels less threatening. Silence feels less empty. Life feels more workable. This is not the end of the journey. It is the place from which the journey can finally be walked with ease. And from this refuge, a natural generosity begins to flow toward yourself, toward others, toward life as it is. This is what it means to become a place of rest for your own heart. When the heart has learned how to rest within itself, life begins to respond in subtle, unexpected ways. Not because the world suddenly becomes perfect, but because the way you meet the world has changed. You may notice that mornings feel a little lighter. The body rises without the same heaviness. The breath moves more freely. Even when challenges wait ahead, there is a quiet confidence underneath, like solid ground beneath thin soil. This is the moment when blessings begin to open, not as miracles falling from the sky, but as doors that were always there now finally unlocked. The Buddha taught that a peaceful mind is fertile ground. Whatever is planted there grows more easily. When the mind is agitated, scattered, or constantly worried, even good seeds struggle to take root. But when the mind settles, conditions align naturally. This is what is meant when we say that calm invites blessing. I once met a couple who had spent years arguing over the same small things. The tone in their home had become sharp, hurried, defensive. One evening, the husband began sitting quietly for a few minutes each night, before bed, simply breathing, letting the day fall away. He did not announce this change. He did not explain it. He simply became calmer. After a few weeks, his wife noticed something. When tension rose, he no longer reacted immediately. He listened. He paused. His voice softened. Slowly, the rhythm of their conversations changed. Not because either of them tried harder, but because one heart had become steadier. Peace opened the door. Harmony walked in. This is how blessing works in Buddhist understanding. It is not a reward handed out randomly. It is the natural result of causes coming together. When the cause is a settled mind, the result is clarity, patience, and wise action. These qualities shape outcomes in ways that worry never can. When the mind is calm, you see options you could not see before. You hear what others are actually saying instead of what fear projects. You make decisions from clarity instead of urgency. Each of these moments creates conditions for good fortune to unfold. The Buddha spoke often about intention. When the heart is rushed, intentions become tangled. When the heart is calm, intentions become clean. Clean intention leads to clean action. Clean action leads to fewer regrets and fewer obstacles. This does not mean life becomes effortless. It means effort becomes effective. You may notice that when the mind is settled, timing improves. You say the right thing at the right moment. You walk away from what drains you before it causes harm. You commit to what nourishes you without hesitation. These are not coincidences. They are the natural intelligence of a calm mind at work. In Buddhist communities across America, many people describe this shift quietly. They do not boast about blessings. They simply notice that things flow with less resistance. Conflicts resolve more easily, health stabilizes, relationships feel more balanced. Even financial stress, while still present, feels less overwhelming. Peace does not remove responsibility. It removes panic. There is a teaching that compares the mind to clear water. When water is muddy, you cannot see the bottom. When it settles, clarity returns on its own. Nothing needs to be added. nothing needs to be stirred. Blessing is like that clarity. It appears when agitation stops. You may remember times when worry consumed your energy. The body felt tight. Sleep was shallow. Thoughts raced in circles. In that state, even small problems felt enormous. Even kind gestures went unnoticed. This is not because goodness was absent, but because the mind could not receive it. When the heart becomes calm, it becomes receptive. Gratitude arises more naturally. Joy appears in small moments. A warm cup of tea, a quiet street, a shared laugh. These moments are blessings too often overlooked when the mind is restless. The Buddha never taught that blessing meant endless pleasure. He taught that blessing meant fewer unnecessary struggles. A calm mind does not create extra suffering on top of what life already brings. This is why peace is not passive. It is deeply protective. When the mind is calm, you are less likely to speak from anger, less likely to act from fear, less likely to hold on to what needs to be released. Each of these shifts prevents future harm. Preventing harm is one of the greatest blessings of all. You may also notice that when the heart is steady, generosity flows more easily. Not forced generosity, but natural generosity. You listen more fully. You give without resentment. You help without exhausting yourself. This kind of giving creates powerful causes. In Buddhist teaching, generosity is one of the clearest pathways to blessing, but generosity that comes from stress drains the giver. Generosity that comes from peace nourishes everyone involved. When your mind is at ease, your presence itself becomes supportive. Others feel calmer around you. Conversations slow down. Trust builds. These invisible effects shape your environment in ways that no amount of planning can. I once heard a teacher say that peace is contagious, not loudly but quietly. It spreads through tone, posture, attention. It spreads because the nervous system responds to safety. This is why calming your own mind is not selfish. It is a service. When your heart rests, the people around you benefit. Your family feels it. Your co-workers feel it. Even strangers feel it in small interactions. A calm presence makes space for kindness to arise. Blessing also opens internally. When the mind is no longer consumed by worry, insight appears. You understand your own patterns more clearly. You recognize when to step forward and when to step back. This wisdom prevents many forms of suffering before they take shape. The Buddha taught that wisdom and peace grow together. One supports the other. As peace deepens, wisdom sharpens. As wisdom sharpens, peace stabilizes. This cycle creates a life that feels guided rather than chaotic. You may still face uncertainty. The future may remain unclear, but the heart no longer trembles in the same way. Trust grows, not blind trust, but grounded trust in your ability to meet what comes. This trust itself is a blessing. It allows you to sleep more deeply, to wake with less dread, to move through the day without constant self-protection. The body relaxes when the mind is no longer bracing for impact. When the heart is calm, gratitude begins to replace fear. You notice what is already working instead of only what is missing. This shift changes how the mind interprets experience. Life feels less like a battle and more like a path. The Buddha did not promise a life without difficulty. He promised a way to live without unnecessary suffering. Peace is that way. When the heart is at ease, even challenges carry less weight. You face them one step at a time. You ask for help when needed. You rest when required. You no longer punish yourself for being human. This gentleness opens space for healing. Healing in the body, healing in relationships, healing in self-understanding. Blessing is not something you chase. It is something you allow. As the mind settles, as reactions soften, as awareness deepens, blessing finds room to enter. It moves quietly without announcement. It shows itself in steadier days, kinder words, clearer choices. And one day, you may realize that what you once begged for has arrived not because you forced it, but because you finally made space for it. This is the quiet power of a peaceful heart. When the mind is calm, blessing opens naturally. Not all at once, not dramatically, but steadily, gently, surely. As the quiet settles and the night holds you gently, there is a simple truth that rises on its own without effort or persuasion. It does not arrive as a sudden realization, but as a soft remembering. You were never missing anything. The feeling of lack, the sense of incompleteness, the long search for something to finally make you feel whole. These were not signs of deficiency. They were signs of forgetting. Forgetting how to return to yourself. The Buddha taught that suffering often begins not because life is cruel, but because the mind wanders far from its own ground. Like a traveler who leaves home and forgets the way back, the heart searches everywhere, believing fulfillment must be found somewhere else. yet the path has always been near. You may notice it now in the body, the way the breath moves more easily, the way the chest no longer feels as tight, the way thoughts come and go without pulling you under. These are not small changes. They are signs of reconnection. Returning to yourself does not require becoming someone new. It requires letting go of the effort to be someone else. So many people spend their lives trying to earn rest, trying to deserve peace, trying to fix themselves before they allow themselves to feel whole. But the Buddha offered a gentler invitation. Peace is not a reward, it is your nature. When you stop running from the present moment, when you stop arguing with your own experience, something remarkable happens. The heart relaxes, the mind softens, the body exhales. I once sat with an elderly woman during a quiet afternoon at a small community center. She had lived through loss, illness, and years of worry. As we sat together, she looked out the window at the late sunlight and said almost to herself, "I spent so long trying to hold everything together. I didn't realize I could just sit and let myself be held." Her hands rested loosely in her lap. Her breathing was slow. Nothing in her life had suddenly changed, but everything felt different. That is what returning feels like. The Buddha never asked anyone to deny pain or pretend life is easy. He asked us to see clearly, to recognize that even within difficulty, there is a place that remains untouched, a place that does not panic, a place that does not need to prove itself. This place is not hidden. It is simply quiet. When you remember how to rest here, the need to grasp begins to fade. You stop measuring your worth by outcomes. You stop chasing approval. You stop demanding that the world make you feel complete. And in that release, completeness reveals itself. You may still have responsibilities tomorrow. There may still be unanswered questions. Relationships may still require patience and care. But something essential has shifted. You are no longer facing these things from a place of inner shortage. You are meeting life from wholeness. This is why the Buddha emphasized mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom together. Mindfulness brings you back. Compassion allows you to stay. Wisdom shows you that you were never broken. Returning to yourself does not make you distant from others. It makes you more present. When you are no longer consumed by inner struggle, you listen more deeply. You respond more kindly. You give without depleting yourself. This is how peace becomes something you carry, not something you chase. You may notice that your evenings feel different now. The night no longer feels like something to endure. silence feels less threatening. The mind knows where to rest. If worries arise, you know how to meet them. Not by fighting, but by breathing. Not by fixing, but by allowing. Each time you do this, you reinforce the path home. The Buddha compared this to polishing a mirror. You do not add anything to the mirror to make it reflective. You simply remove what covers it. Clarity was always there. In the same way, you do not need to add worth, strength, or meaning to yourself. You simply need to stop covering what already exists. As this understanding settles, there is often a feeling of relief. A gentle sadness may even appear, not because something is wrong, but because you realize how long you have been carrying what you did not need to carry. If that sadness comes, let it come. It is part of healing. It is the heart releasing old effort. The Buddha taught that awakening is not a dramatic event. It is a series of small recognitions. Each one brings you closer to ease. Tonight, one of those recognitions has already happened. You have remembered how to be with yourself. As you move forward, let this remembering be simple. You do not need to hold on to it tightly. Just return when you notice you have wandered. Return to the breath. Return to the body. Return to the quiet place that does not ask you to be anything other than what you are. If this practice has brought you even a small sense of calm, consider sharing it. A gentle word to someone who is struggling. A quiet presence offered without advice. This is how peace spreads naturally. And if you feel drawn to continue walking this path together, you are welcome to return here, to listen again, to sit again, to remember again. You may choose to stay connected, not out of need, but out of shared intention. Before you rest, take a final moment to acknowledge yourself, not for achieving anything, but for allowing yourself to pause, for choosing presence over distraction, for coming home. May your sleep be deep and unforced. May your heart feel safe within itself. May you remember again and again that you were always enough. Nothing has been added. Nothing has been taken away. You have simply returned.